Something that really caught me off guard is that New Line Cinema is attempting a revision of an old franchise in their catalog of films. This one is without a doubt one of my personal favorites. I'm talking about the House Party franchise. The original 1990 film kicked off the series, which was a surprise hit for the studio. It centered around two high school friends played by hip-hop duo Kid and Play, who for the most part play themselves. It sees Play throwing a house party while his parents are out of town, and Kid sneaking out to join in on the fun, despite being grounded by his strict but well-meaning father played by the late Robin Harris. The party is of course the centerpiece of the film, with it being where the filmmakers would get to showcase the lead's talents in full force as entertainers. Who doesn't remember that brilliant dance scene in the first film? It was moments like that, along with their amazing cast and comedy, that made the first film into a cult classic. It was also notable for boosting the careers of a number of talent attached to the first film. Reginald Hudlin, who created the film and also directed it, was a first-time director. Because of the success of House Party, he was hired by Eddie Murphy to direct him in Boomerang. There was also co-stars Tisha Campbell and Martin Lawrence, who went on to star alongside of each other in the latter's self-titled sitcom Martin. Tisha then went on to star as J. Kyle alongside Damon Wayans in the early 2000s sitcom My Wife and Kids, a role that made me love her as an actress. She and Wayans were a perfect match. Let's not forget A.J Johnson, who played Shireen, Tisha's best friend and easily one of the most beautiful women in the film. Her tag team dance-off with her bestie has still yet to be topped. Sadly, she opted to leave the role behind her in favor of other acting opportunities, but in doing so, she has had a lucrative career. She played Tyrese Gibson's mother in Baby Boy and is now starring in the Adult Swim animated sitcom The Jellies. There's also Daryl Mitchell as Shill. He went to star in the cult sci-fi classic comedy Galaxy Quest and has shaped a successful career as a television actor. He currently stars in NCIS New Orleans as computer specialist Pattern Plane and the Walking Dead spin-off show Fear the Walking Dead. Sadly, this is one of those franchises that went on a bit longer than it needed to, and some of the magic ended up getting lost by the time they made the fourth and fifth film, which was just unnecessary at that point, especially since they shifted the series from being theatrical releases to direct-to-video. But hey, they were cheap to make, and the money they made back was enough to warrant more films, despite the decline in quality and the shift from the original duo to more younger talent. This revision is a great way of breathing in some new life into the property that has a lot of love from fans who still fondly remember the series, which was a celebration of black talent. Anyways, now that we've gone back down memory lane discussing the state of the franchise back in its heyday, let's get back on topic. This new revision of the classic series comes from LeBron James's production company, Spring Hill Entertainment. LeBron and his longtime business partner, Maverick will be executive producers on this project. Why is that a good thing for this property? Well, outside of the basketball court, LeBron has been successfully breaking into Hollywood by becoming a savvy businessman and producer who has shown that this is another field where the star can do big things. His upcoming Space Jam sequel looks to be promising. It is said to be a way of bringing back the series after a long hiatus, with LeBron taking over the Michael Jordan role, but more importantly, just like House Party, it is taking an all existing property and bringing it back for a whole new generation. They have assembled an interesting team of creatives to help bring this project to fruition. We have the former director of the original film, Reginald Hudlin, and his brother, Warrington Hudlin, returning as executive producers, along with creatives from both New Line and Spring Hill Entertainment. I'm glad that Hudlin is back, working on the franchise he started. To this date, the first film he worked on is the strongest in the series. Ever since his departure, they have never been able to recapture the magic of the original. Not that the sequels were terrible, they just exhausted the formula. He never had any creative input in the films that followed after the original, and I think it's interesting he's returning to the series 3 decades later to have some involvement. So moving on, we have writing duo Stephen Glover and Jamal Olori, who are Emmy-nominated writers on the hit Donald Glover FX series, Atlanta, have already written a script, and finally the person in the director's chair is none other than Climatic. This will be his feature film debut, since up to this point, the Los Angeles filmmaker has only directed music videos and commercials for a number of high-profile artists. His most famous work to date, which has earned him a Grammy Award, is his work directing a music video for the hit chart-topping song Old Town Road by Lil Nas X and featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. If you're not familiar with his name or work, then look him up. You won't be disappointed. He really shows a ton of promise for a young director. I look forward to seeing him bring his unique flavor to this film. Now, the creative team on this is important in shaping this project, but they are also just one part of the equation. What is also instrumental to getting this any sort of interest, other than it being a recognizable IP, is the talent who will be front and center. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who can they possibly get to play Kid and Play? Or a duo that could bring the same level of talent, energy, and charisma? It's an almost impossible task. They tried to replace them, and we all know that didn't work out for the franchise. Well, they might have struck gold here with these two actors set to star in the planned reboot. Jorge Lendborg Jr. and Tosin are the actors that are in negotiations to lead this new iteration of House Party, and I really hope they close a deal. Both actors are rising stars in the industry who have appeared in a number of high-profile properties, and based on their roles, I believe they are the perfect duo to kick off this new franchise in a big way. Jorge is probably the most recognizable of the two, since he's had a number of supporting roles stateside in films like Brigsby Bear, where he played a small supporting role, Bumblebee as Haley Steinfeld's friend and co-lead to the actress, 2018's romantic comedy Love, Simon, and finally his recurring role as one of the student news anchors in the current Marvel Studios / Sony Pictures Spider-Man films. Tosin, on the other hand, has starred mostly in British-based productions. He was a series regular in the BBC spin-off show EastEnders, E20, as well as the hit Channel 4 soap opera Hollyoaks and its sister series Hollyoaks Later. The actor has also popped up in a number of short films and TV shows that are available to watch on YouTube. There's 2011's Me and My Dad and the 2018 drama Father of Man. Most recently, he wrapped up perhaps one of his biggest roles to date as companion Ryan St. Clair in the BBC sci-fi drama series Doctor Who. Now, you'll notice from that little rundown that both actors have consistently been attached to a variety of interesting projects, but never one where they are playing the main lead. Although both have lead parts lined up, but nothing that I personally feel would make an impact on their careers, like House Party. This is why I hope with this project on the table, they can use this as an opportunity to showcase their talents by leading a recognizable franchise that will surely offer a huge boost to their careers, but also give them both a franchise that they can call their own. Even though it's jointly, they will be on equal footing. I think these two are interesting choices to pick for this film. They both have a certain quality to them that's likable, and I can see them easily acting off of each other and having a tremendous amount of chemistry, just like their predecessors. It also will work in their favor and for the film, since both actors are still relatively up-and-coming talents who don't have too much exposure, despite being in some high-profile gigs. Some people will recognize them, but not as household names. They will be able to take on a project like House Party and not be overexposed. It will help them to take on their roles and fit into them without it being a distraction. If they had gone and cast recognizable singers, they wouldn't be able to get away with people seeing them as anything other than the stage performers playing themselves. If it had gone that route, it wouldn't have been a problem. The original film was built on a gimmick and even continued the same trend of having professional singers as leads once Kid and Play had left the franchise. Something that may raise questions about their casting is their ability to sing and perform. I've yet to see either actors do anything that requires that level of talent. House Party is known for casting professional singers who can rap and for its dance-offs. I'm sure they must have considered getting musicians for this project, but decided getting actors was the better option, especially if this ends up being much more dramatic than the original series. You would need capable actors, and not just singers who would be passable in an acting role. I'm sure with time and training, they can get Jorge and Cole up to a standard where they can sing and perform convincingly. Also, the filmmakers will have other talent coming in to support the leads. From the sounds of the article, it seems like they will be playing new characters, since they never outright refer to them as Kid or Play, which is good. They are better actors than Kid and Play. It would be a disservice to both actors not to play new characters who they can have more freedom to incorporate elements of their own personality into their roles. We don't need an updated version of Kid and Play. I'm sure the duo would be flattered to have younger actors play them. But at the same time, how would they feel about someone else adopting their image? It all depends on what the creative team have in mind for their characters. But Jorge and Tosin are no doubt perfect casting for modern day versions of Kid and Play. Seriously, it's almost too good to be true. Jorge's trademark hair is perfect to replicate the high top fade haircuts that Kid famously sported as part of his signature look. Tosin just needs to bring out his suave side, and yeah, it will work. But I'm still sticking to my initial feelings on this. Like I said, we don't need an updated version of Kid and Play. Yes, they were instrumental in making the franchise a success, but it was also the direction and the writing that helped to elevate their performance. Without those being up to scratch, then this new iteration will be dead before it can hope to be a franchise. Since this is a revision, it doesn't need to copy what came before, especially as times have changed. And we are long past that 90s era of music, haircuts, and fashion that was some of the strengths of the original film. Not that I would have any issues if they decided to go and have a throwback film set in that time. It would be really nostalgic. But I think that there is so much potential to do something set in today's world, where a lot has changed in terms of music, clothing, and partying. They could go big or small. There's so many possibilities. How can you not get excited over this? For me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing how this project comes together, and who they cast as the lead's love interest, and the artists they get to cameo. Speaking of cameos, they definitely need to have one from Kid and Play, as a sort of wink and nod to the fans, and also maybe some of the original cast could return in new roles. So what are your thoughts on this? Are you excited for the reboot revision of House Party? Or do you think they should just leave the franchise alone and move on to something else? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways folks, that's all for now. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment below. And hey, maybe this wasn't your cup of tea. And that's okay. Just remember to take care and stay safe.